Like if you want to play around with the file, or whatever, you actually need to go to the web or the full app.
Yeah, like I wish the thing just automatically like open a new like a new thing. Like I
Yeah.
feel like the people that would actually want to open in the app is just very little because like most people want to look at the document and maybe be in the meeting meanwhile and maybe text people and
Yeah.
like multitasking is really important when you're working on Mac. Like
Don't just do it. What did he say?
Import numpy as NP and then you import that prod.
Dot prod?
Yeah.
No. No.
I mean, like, alright, fine, then multiply. But what? It's like a really easy problem. I think it's a language. You can use the
you got
language.
it?
No, final.
You can get it. I mean, I don't
You,
wanna
you,
like
you're
I don't
gonna
wanna
get
like
it,
jinx
right?
it, but you should be able to get it.
As loud as how my skills are.
Don't be so confident in him.
Yeah. You're like, wait.
You guys don't basic integers. And you probably have to code in them. Like I don't see why.
Yeah, I mean, you code that
Oh,
eventually.
did you? Maybe it was my question because I was already might get lucky. My question was like if you get your strings like let's say A B B B C C, just return non-repeating characters. In other words, return the set of that of the
Oh, dude,
characters.
one liner in Python, you got it.
Return
Wait, do
set.
you need to keep track of the order? Like A came first, so you need to put A first?
I don't. He never gave me any restrictions under that. That was the
Dude.
question.
Turn into an array, set the array, and then join it
Yeah, you
with to a
wanna set
string.
the array, but you might wanna go into like really detail. I went into like really weird detail because I was like, oh, you wanna turn it into a set, and a set is a hash map where you just have the keys only, but no other
Yeah, pretty
no
much.
list within the keys.
I would have just said it's a hash set. Like,
I just yeah, you can say it's just turn it into a hash set. You wanna and that's just gonna be O of n, blah blah blah. That's it's a very simple question, but it looks like it's like something that gets frequently asked. Got asked, but
what's, you know what it's called?
I have no idea what I would call that. I just remember like the solution per se, not really like the question. It's like let's say you get a okay, return a string's characters that are being used without repeating. It's, in other words, return the set. But they never tell you to
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, the wet walk, I'm gonna call right now to make
Okay.
a
all the
reservation.
characters
Okay.
that you
Hopefully we
have
can get it. I don't
that are
think
being
Laz
used in the
and
string. A and B.
Sorry.
Yeah, you just yeah, so you just return the set of the characters they're using.
Okay, I'm gonna
No,
also
he
get
didn't,
food,
well, he
so
didn't give me
Okay.
any
back.
restrictions.
Good luck.
on that.
Thanks, bro.
And I don't think Raul got one either. Maybe Raul got it gone.
Yep.
Yeah, you just return the set. But they don't tell you to return the set because that kind of gives away the answer.
It's on the
Is
So
this
I don't
on the
know
left
exactly
side.
what the wording is, but I know it's not just turn it into a set because that is the solution.
The left side, left side.
if you don't use it in a set, you do you just do it for loop. And then if this character is not in your set, add it to an answer string. If it is, don't add it.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be answered with like the knowledge of the set, but it's nice to know that to show them that you know a set because you show that you have a little
Can you
bit
unlock
more
it?
of advanced skill to that. They kind of
My
just wanna see
face.
that you can program. They're not really trying to see that you can program anything
Yeah.
like
Okay, cool. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming and thank you for joining. Today's it's the first day of the team practice lecture, which is a different name than we had last semester, which was team review. Yeah, you're seeing this, but what they see is this. So it's fine. Yeah. Cool. So, should probably start in the beginning. There we go. All right. By the way, there is a little QR code in the corner that you guys might want to scan. So I could track you guys your attendance. I know everyone in this room, so you guys don't have to do it. It's fine. But for the people online, if you want to track your attendance, please scan that QR code. Were you going to say something?
No. We don't see the QR code, but you just said why.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. So welcome. This is the first lecture or the first meeting of the team practice lectures. So this is interview training. We have a couple of leads. The leads is me, that's Lazaro, and then David, Ricky, who is not here because he's working, and Joseph, who is here. So like I said, please sign in. This QR code is always on the bottom of the screen for every single live stream we have. So you can easily scan it with your phone. And we have this slide right here. You going to do it?
Huh?
You going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, you're struggling, so just don't worry about it.
You know why.
Yeah, I know who you are, yeah. Huh? Oh, that's actually here. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the schedule, because there is some new things this semester. First, let's begin with the beginner lectures. This will be hosted by David and Joseph. It officially begins on January 25th, so not next week, but the week after. It's going to be every Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. in case 235, which for you guys here, it's this exact room. And what is it going to teach you? It's going to teach you how to apply algorithms and data structures by solving LeetCode problems live. So either David or Joseph, they're going to be covering a LeetCode problem, and it's going to highlight a certain concept or a certain algorithm, and they're going to walk you guys through solving it. And then this will be followed by, I skipped like 3. Okay, there we go. This will be followed by the LeetCode session, so it's going to be hosted by Joseph. And that begins on the 26th. So it's the Wednesday in 2 weeks. It's every Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. in case 235. So you guys might see that repeating. Every single lecture we have is going to be at 3:30 p.m. in case 235. So what is Joseph going to be doing? Since Joseph is a competitive programmer, he's going to be challenging you guys by attempting a harder version of what the beginner lectures taught you. So whatever David went over, David's going to be giving you guys like an easy to medium LeetCode problem, and then Joseph is really going to challenge you and push you guys as far as you can with a medium to hard problem. After that, on Thursdays, we have the team lecture hosted by Giri. It has already started. The first one was yesterday. If you guys missed that, then we do have the recording on our YouTube channel, so you can still watch it. This will be every Thursday, and again, 3:30 p.m. in case 235. Giri is going to help you guys solve hard problems with some advanced algorithms to be able to compete in ICPC competitions. Now, if you don't know what ICPC competitions is, don't worry about it. We'll be talking about it later on. But just know it's as serious as it can get. There's some competitions for high schoolers, but after that, we have competitions for college students. And those are the ICPC competitions. So it's pretty legit, and if you have it on your resume, even if you tried it, if you can put it in your extracurriculum, it will still be nice. And then finally, we have the team practice lecture, which is going to be hosted by me. It has already started because you guys are in the first one. It's going to be Fridays, again, 3:30 p.m. in case 235. So what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be helping you guys apply whatever Dr. Giri taught you. And I'm going to be helping you guys by enforcing you to participate in the weekly mock competitions. So every single week, whatever Giri went over, we're going to have a mock competition on that week. And one of the problems in that mock competition is going to include the problem that Giri went over and that he solved with you guys. So on Fridays, we're going to come here, code up the solution to whatever Giri told us, and and we're going to submit it to the competition so you guys have already one problem solved. So that should help you build up some momentum. And something I really want to stress is to make sure you have the interview training row, which I'm showing you guys right here how to get that row. If you're in the general channel, go to Dev Communities and make sure you click on the LeetCode logo. So, yeah. So now that was the schedule. Now let's talk about competitions. Like I said, we're going to be hosting weekly mock competitions. But there's also going to be some practice competitions that will be held on Saturday and Sunday to practice for the ICPC competition this semester. This semester, there is going to be an ICPC competition in FIU. So there's going to be people from other schools coming to FIU to competing live. So it's pretty cool. Hopefully we can represent with a whole bunch of teams and maybe win. That would be nice. It would be hard, but it would be nice. Of course, they're holding some practice competitions on Saturdays and Sundays. I'll talk about this a little bit more in the next slides. There's also a North America qualifier that's going to be held on January 22nd. This is extremely important because with this, your performance on this qualifier is going to determine how Geary is going to pair you up in teams. So of course, some people might be extremely strong in graphs, but they might be weak in strings. If that's the case, then Geary is most likely going to pair you up with someone who's strong in strings, but weak in graph. So this is just to see where your strong points are and where your weaknesses are, so we can build the best team possible. And try to make it fair, of course. It's not like we're going to put all the bad people in one team. But this qualifier is going to take place on January 22nd from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Katniss. That is the link to the competition right now. If you were to go to that link, you see how it would say it's starting in 7 days or something like that. But if you want, save the link right now, so when January 22nd comes by, you already have the link. You don't have to stress. There is a deadline for this, because we do have to register. The registration deadline is January 19th. So if you guys can just get that link, it's a really long link. I'll send it right now, actually. If you guys can just go to that link and register right now, whenever you get a chance, that'll be nice, so you won't have to worry about it later on. I'll put it in the interview training Discord channel. Cool. So I already sent out the registration link. Please try to do it before January 19th. And if you want some more information, there is a link for that as well. I think it includes like a FAQ and a couple of other details on the qualifier. So yeah, like I said, really important, guys. Try to participate this as well. It will determine teams. After that, now we can talk about the Saturday and Sunday competitions that are legit and that are being hosted to help us practice for the March 5th ICPC competition. So here we have a couple, we have 4 weeks of competitions, Saturday and Sunday, like I said. So they should be extremely helpful for you guys to practice and to get your nerves out, to get a good feeling of how it's going to go. Once these start, I will remind you guys. I'll, of course, tag interview training, and I'll send out the links to these competitions so you guys, in case you forgot or don't know where you can do it. All right, so this is a legit one. This is the big boy right here, the ACM Southeast Regional Programming Competition, March 5th this year at FIU. They're going to be coming here, and a whole bunch of teams, a whole bunch of different colleges coming to compete. We have 7 weekends to prepare for this, the 15th, 22nd, 29th, 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th. So that's all the time we have for these mock competitions to really prepare ourselves as much as possible. And if you haven't already, join ICPC. Create an account, because this is how Geary is going to pair you up. This is also extremely important because, like I said, you do get scholarships just by competing. So you need to have an ICPC account, be part of a team that Geary sets you up in, and then Geary needs to have your Panther ID. Like that, he has all the information on you, and he actually knows that you competed. Yeah, I don't know what you did. You didn't get paid. Everyone on your team got paid, except you. So you probably sent him the wrong Panther ID, or I was sending out Panther IDs. Oh, I put mine twice. That's why I got more. I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't know what went wrong.
I know where you live, you know?
You do know where I live, yeah. Also, right down here, we have an old Southeast regional competition. You guys can look at the problems or what they've done in the past just to get a good feeling of how it's going to go. Right, so before we get started, I do want to ask if you guys have any questions or if you guys are fine with all that. Of course, I'll send out the links once this lecture is done. Good? Yeah, I definitely will, yeah. Oh, a Notion page. Oh, that's actually smart. Like a little wiki?
Yeah, because like you have all the things on the list.
Yeah, that's true.
Make sure to pin it in the chat so that it doesn't get
And I'll pin it too. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you.
I have a PM part.
A PM part? I can tell.
Yeah. I'll go into it when I'm older, but I'm not.
All right, do you guys have questions? No? All right, David? No, you're good? All right, cool. So now we can actually get started. And by getting started, I mean the competition. So, no one else has submitted? That's unfortunate.
Wait, I was going to submit on Facebook, but I'm bad at C++.
I'm running a team.
Oh wait, do you have to code in C++?
No. So you can code in whatever language you want. This is VJudge right here. So before we get into the competition, let me actually send the link to VJudge if you guys can all go to it. I'll also send it in the live stream in case you guys are interested.
I was gonna say, is Python a good idea or a bad idea? Because everyone
No.
It's a bad idea.
It's
So-
always time limited C.
Not always, but there are some problems that although your algorithm is correct, you have the right time complexity, it would still be time limit exceeded. It's just some overhead in Python that won't work. That's why I switched from Python to C++.
I was thinking of doing C++ because I don't like C too much, but there's some things I don't like about Java, and I feel like C++ kind of
Right in between. Yeah,
What do you
totally. Yeah, it's definitely between those two.
C++ is like a faster Java.
Yeah, just better Java, not so much verbose.
C# is
I don't like that on Java. I have to write like 3 little things before I even write print.
System done.
No, even before you do all that, you need so much boilerplate code as well.
Yeah, no, that's
Even
good.
with C++, you just need main, but for Java, you need like
the class.
you need a class and then
Static void.
yeah, all of that. It's incredible. Okay, but if you guys don't have a VJudge account, that's where all of our mock competitions will be held. I sent out the link in the interview training, so if you guys want to, you guys go to compete now.
Oh, wait, if
Or
you have
submit
an
now.
IDE where you have extensions like VS Code, where you do autocomplete, C# has a really good one, where you don't have to type everything.
Yeah,
So C#
yeah, of course.
is
You can have shortcuts and
very
stuff.
dope.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
I didn't know you could use C# for this.
You can use a whole bunch of languages. In actual competitions, it's only Java. I think Kotlin is allowed,
Yeah.
C++, and C,
But Kotlin is so
and Python.
Kotlin is so bullshit.
So yeah, for actual competitions, like the set of accepted languages is much smaller. But for these, for example,
You just send a link to the video. You didn't send a link to like the question.
no, of course not. I want you to create an account.
No,
I
you
do
go
have
to
an account.
go to-
You have an account? Okay, good.
go to content.
I'll send out the contest right now.
So wait, do we actually have to participate in this right now?
If you want to. If you want to do it now and solve a problem, then yeah. But if you don't want to, it's okay. The recording is here either way.
Love how you're like, I need to get better. Also doesn't want to do anything to get better. How long would this take?
Creating an account is pretty short. We're going to do an easy problem. So it's going to be, like the solution to the easy problems will be like 7 lines. In Python, it's going to be 3 lines.
Yeah, but it's gonna take 3 million views.
I sent the link to the competition, Joseph.
Wait, are they working on it?
No, I'm going to work with them for one problem.
Oh, okay.
Fix the pond is easy. A bug's life is even easier. That's a joke. Fix the pond and a bug's life are the only 2 hard problems in this competition. All the other ones should be pretty straightforward. It's just like some greedy stuff. Yeah, bug's life. It's just a difficult description. It's a weird description.
What is this? I feel
Yeah, they go pretty in depth on what the bugs are doing. Yeah, I'll put it up for the live stream so you guys know what they're talking about.
This is terms of service. Violates terms of service.
This is what are those people that study bugs? They're anthropologists? Yeah.
Entomologist.
Entomologists?
I think. Hold on, study bug. Study a bug. No, I study a bee. Yeah, it is. Just say you study a bug.
So we have Hermes here who's going to be doing the first problem. It's the hardest one, but since he can do it, I know.
Well, it's quite easy, so.
Quite easy, not worth your time. All right, fine. Go ahead and eat, sir. Okay, you're ready? You're good? No, like.
Oh,
yeah.
Entomology. I've gone for 2 seconds and we've gone to study of bugs.
Well, you know why if you read the problem.
Should we talk about this problem?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not. There's no derogatory terms. It's.
Okay. All right.
If you guys are still watching, I just want to let you know that we're just getting everyone set up with a VJudge account before we get into the first problem and how to read inputs and send out outputs. Oh, that word is huge, binary. So you're really.
Yeah, because it's either.
You're like 1/8 there.
Oh, okay, I got this. Okay.
Thank you, Ricky, for suggesting A Bug's Life.
You saw it?
Yeah, he showed me it yesterday. It was good.
Oh, did you?
You're from Cuba, right? You're Cuban? Me too. Do I look Cuban? Yeah, true. I was born in Cuba. I came here when I was 3.
Oh, you actually were born there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're actually cute.
Yeah.
You know, that was a little bit of a gatekeeping thing. But like, let's be
That
real.
is gatekeeping.
But like, let's be real.
That's gatekeeping.
That is, like, let's be real. A lot of
But do you live in Hialeah?
You do.
We live in
Oh, you live in
Hialeah.
Hialeah.
So he's
Really
both.
Cuban. So they're really Cuban.
So you live in
He's a coral.
I never actually left Cuba.
Brickle.
never left Cuba.
Yeah, I went from Havana to Hialeah. Like,
Yeah.
have I ever actually left Cuba?
No, I don't know. Hialeah is basically Cuba.
Like,
No, Hialeah is a little bit. Actually, a little bit better than Cuba. I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Havana has some really solid architecture. That's
Nice.
about it.
Oh, can you confirm? Oh, actually, I don't know.
I've been there like
You
once.
were young when you left. And I said.
Yeah,
I meant
but
in
I've gone
terms of
back.
style.
Oh, okay.
Not
All
in
right.
terms of structure.
Oh, okay.
They're 2 different things, you know. But you have a good point.
Yeah.
They have really good,
Maybe
well
they should fix
designed.
the buildings, you know?
They have really well designed architecture in terms of user experience.
Oh, wait, no.
High school.
Oh no, I went to that. I never went to. I would have gone to Hialeah Gardens for high school.
Hialeah Gardens, I live next to
Yeah, a bunch of my friends live in Hialeah. I went to holiday.
Was that what you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna go there
okay,
too.
I was like,
Massive.
okay.
I went to Matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
okay.
right next to me, bro.
Oh, really?
We're
Yo, we're neighbors?
We
So what I
might,
say?
we might actually live close because Matter is like kind of close to the. You probably just live close to Walmart, right?
I live close to the Walmart right next to Hialeah Gardens High School.
Oh,
Yes.
never mind.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, you live like 2 minutes away from me.
Dude. Let's do something.
For you watching live stream, we're just learning that Joseph and David
I love how we're
live
just
right next to
showing
each
off,
other.
like, our
Wait,
personal
Joseph,
information
Yeah.
on the live stream, right?
What's your address? Joseph, say it all loud. You live next to Matter. I have a good idea.
Okay, we can start with the first one.
I know the whole area.
Wait, you have an account for Katniss for VJudge, right?
I'm logging in right now.
Okay, cool.
You have to do it for Deary first.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I don't know what the problem. What is the problem?
Okay, yeah. So the first problem that I want to talk about is watermelon.
Oh, or do we go to a contest?
Huh?
Like to look for that?
Yeah, I sent the link in Discord for the contents. Yeah, it should be the most latest link I sent. We can talk about it later, David. We can talk about it later so we can do the watermelon now.
Oh, we're gonna do a different process then?
Yeah, we'll do a different one.
Just Twitter. I'm kidding. That's what I did. I quit when I did the tax. Yeah, I know. All right, then I guess. Over this one.
You.
My laptop right there.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. One hot summer. What did I miss?
Okay, so who wants to read the problem? If anyone wants to read it.
You want me to go up there and read?
Yeah, you can.
Or you want to read it? Right. Rock, paper, scissors. All right. I would. That's up to. Yeah, that's. Oh, well, I mean.
No, dude, just.
I'm just coming up. Okay.
Oh, you're in the camera?
Yeah, I'm gonna come up in the
I
camera.
didn't know you were gonna do that. Okay. There you go.
All right. There's no planning. One hot.
Don't
summer
say that. I planned this. I planned all of this.
I can't. There we go. One hot summer day, Pete and his friend Billy decided to buy a watermelon. They chose the biggest and ripest one, in their opinion. After the watermelon was weighed and the scale showed W kilos, they rushed home, dying of thirst, and decided to divide the berry. However, they faced a hard problem. Pete and Billy are great fans of even numbers. That's why they want to divide the watermelon in such a way that each of the two parts weighs even number of kilos. At the same time, it is not obligatory that the parts are equal. The boys are extremely tired and they want to start their meal as soon as possible. That's why you should help them and find out if they can divide the watermelon in the way they want. For sure, each of them should get a part of positive weight. Okay, so do you want me to explain the input?
Yeah, I'll do the rest. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, David. Let's get a round of applause. All right, so yeah, the input. So you pretty much, you guys now know the problem because by reading it, you know what the real question is. And there's some hints scattered around this. For most competitions, you guys may see that the description is much longer and much more wordy or detailed than a LeetCode problem. Most of them are like that. There are some competitions where the first paragraph is pure nonsense and could be thrown out the door. There's some even worse ones where the first two paragraphs has nothing to do with the problem. But when you're doing competitions, part of it is reading the description and knowing what the real problem is and what to take away from it. For example, here, when they say that they are great fans of even numbers, that's a small hint right there. They want to divide the watermelon in such a way that they get two parts that are even numbers. That's another hint. So as you can tell, it starts really getting into the problem in the second paragraph. The first paragraph has nothing to do. It's not really important. It doesn't give you any hints at all. So that's something you might find common in competitions. So first you see the input. First you see the description, and then the next thing you might see is the input. The input describes your constraints on the problem. In this case, we only have one integer, which is W, which represents the weight of the watermelon they want to split. So that's also really important to look at, because if W was 10 to the 9th and you're doing O of n algorithm, your time limit will be exceeded, because 10 to the 9th is a billion. And you cannot do a billion if your time is just 1 second. And you can know how much time you have left to run this algorithm just by looking at your time limit right here. So in this case, it's 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. In 1 second, you cannot do a billion operations, so you can already know that O of n is not going to work out, and you need something smarter, like log n maybe. After your input, you're going to be seeing your output, which represents what you want to return to solve this problem. Here, in this case, you want to print yes if you could divide the watermelon into two parts where each part is even. And if you cannot do that, then you want to output no. So seeing your input and output can sometimes also help you understand the problem. You might have read the description and be completely lost on what you just read. But if you look at the input and output, or the example cases right here, you might get a good understanding of what the problem is trying to tell you, what it wants out of you. Hey, Demba. So after your output, you will see examples where they give you a couple of test cases. They give you an example input and example output. This is useful because if you create an algorithm, before submitting, you want to test your algorithm using these inputs. And we'll go over how to read input and output later on. Then sometimes good amount of times it's like 50-50 chance they might include a note for you that just adds extra explanation to the problem. In this case, it says that, well, in this case, the note is just explaining why the answer is yes in the first example. So that's most likely all you really want to take away from these competitions or from these problems. Just know sometimes the description is full of junk. Following the description, you have your constraints on your input. Then you want your output, which defines what you need to return. And then you have a couple of examples. And of course, it's really important to look at your time limit. Because if you have a constraint, like I said, of 10 to the 9th, and your time limit is only 1 second, you need to do something better than O of n. All right, so now let's think of how we can solve this problem. You just read the problem, you just look at the constraints, and you saw the first example, and it makes sense to you. If the first example makes sense to you, then you want to start thinking, why did it make sense? In this case, does anyone have like an idea of how we can solve this problem? Yeah?
Okay, so it has to be an even number.
Okay.
Okay, so subtract it by 2, and if you get an even number, then there you go.
So modulo 2.
No, subtract the number by 2, because if you divide, so it may be even, but if you divide by 2, you get 2 odd numbers, right? Like 6, for example.
Okay, sure.
So if you subtract 6 by 2, you get 4. 2 and 4 are both even. Add them together, you get 6. I guess if the input was 6.
It's modulo 2. Let's just go with modulo 2. What you said is right. We just want to care if we can make an even out of it. So we can simply just do that by taking modulo. If we know that this number w, if we can take the modulo of 2 of that number, then we know it's even, right?
Yeah.
Does everyone agree with that? You're good?
Okay.
Then, but you're probably just reading the problem. Yeah, you agree? Okay. Dan, you read that fast. Hermes, you agree? Yeah. Okay, cool. So what if w is equal to 2?
It's 1 and 1.
But they're not even.
Yeah.
It's not.
So you want to return no.
Exactly.
So that's another constraint, right?
Isn't 2 and 0 even?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, you want to break it
It has
up.
to be a positive.
Yeah,
The question itself is
Yeah, you're not ever gonna get a 0.
a part of positive weight. Yeah.
Wasn't the output 0?
No, the input is, the w is between 1 and 100. So that's why the input is pretty useful, right?
No, but in the example case, or did I just see that?
It was 8.
Oh, that's an 8.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 0 with a
Yeah.
1.
All you have to do is just do
Well, you might
test
just
case,
divide that
do an if for 2 examples.
So you can do that. Just check if the input is 2, return no. You can also do if this number w modulo of 2 is equal to 0 and w is greater than 2, return yes, else return no. So that's something else you want to do. You want to keep in mind while doing these competitions. Not only take into account the examples, but try to think of some special edge cases. A good hint of these edge cases is always trying the lower bound and upper bound of whatever number you have. You try 1 and then try 100. Sometimes those are the hardest ones. Try something in between. Try something that you know. For example, here you know that all the even numbers was something that we cared about. So maybe try the first 5, the 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever. Try those.
Wait, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Let's say you get 3 and you say 2 and 1. That's not a good answer, right?
Exactly, yeah. Because they both have to be even. And then one is odd, so yeah.
So then your minimum is really just 4. No, then you have 2 and 3. That's not possible.
4, you can have 2 and 2.
Oh, no. Wait. Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, I've done this problem before, but when I was reading it today, I was like, what the heck is this asking me? But it could get confusing. This is not even the worst.
Wait, I didn't understand what you said. What if there's 5 watermelons? How do you divide that then?
You can't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because of the modular.
Yeah, that's why we're doing modular, yeah.
The only reason
constant.
2 is a test case is because 2 is divisible by modular. But 2 is that one weird one where it can't be split.
Yeah. 2 is
Exactly.
Everything about that.
2 is a prime number.
So for competition-wise, so you can't test out any of the test cases. You just submit your algorithm.
So very good question, yeah. when you have your algorithm, the only test cases you have to play with are the ones they give you and the ones you come up with. If you submit and if you fail, they will not tell you which one it failed. It will just tell you that you failed.
Wait, how are you guys solving that question? You're picking the number 1 through 2, and then if you get a 0, then it's
Yeah,
bad.
if the number is modulo by 2, if it's 0, then it's yes. And if
So how-
it's 1, then it's no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, so with 6,
Wait, do you guys see it?
it still works because of the form.
It's kind of hard. Exactly, yeah. So yeah, like 10.
Okay.
Oh my god, like 2 is 0. But it's 5 and
Maybe
5.
you
But
wanna
it means
turn
it's
part-
5 and 5.
partially
4 and 6.
Oh, smart. But they won't be able to see me.
Is this what you've been doing all winter break?
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you guys the template later. But yeah, this is all you really need to solve this problem. It's seriously 3 lines.
Has anyone used Java in the competition?
They have. People have used Java. Like college students in ICPC competitions, they do use Java. So it's common. It's
But like, did they have like any problems?
No, I've never heard of a problem with Java. I've experienced problems with Python, but I haven't heard of anyone going from Java to C++ because there was overhead in Java that gave them time limit exceeded. Cool. So, like I was saying, and like Hermes pointed out, the only inputs you have are the ones they give you, the example, which is often 1, 2, or 3. If you get more than 3, then you're pretty lucky. So the inputs you come up with, the inputs they give you. That's all you really have. If it tells you that you gave the wrong answer, you do not know what test case your algorithm failed. That's what makes competitions so hard. Because you really have to know, you have to figure out where it failed, and you have to read your code. It doesn't tell you the test case that it failed. You can't reverse engineer it. So that's why they're much harder than just leak code problems. All right, cool. So we went through a good process. We read the description, read the input, the output, the time limit, and we did the first example. Then we discussed an algorithm that can potentially work. We came up with it. Now what? What do we have to do now? Well, now we actually have to solve the problem, correct? So everyone here is going to do what? Raise your hand if you're going to do Python. Okay.
But he just told me you can't use Python.
You could use Python, but it's risky.
Go ahead, yeah. Oh, is it just because it's too slow?
Exactly. It could give you
They
time.
compare it
Yeah.
no matter what language you use?
Yeah, I think you were getting food, but it's for
Yeah.
when you're using, that's why I was like, what? If that makes sense. I'm not calling you out, by the way. When you're using Python, there just might be some overhead. So even though you have the correct time complexity for your algorithm, it could still give you time limit exceeded, just because it's Python and slow.
But I think for this one, I think.
No, for sure. This one is W only goes up to 100, so you can just do 100 ifs if you want, but you can also just do the correct algorithm. So we have 2 people doing Python. Who's going to be doing Java? 2 people doing Java. Who's going to be doing C++? What are you going to be doing? Kotlin? You can't do C# in the actual competition.
Okay, Java.
Okay, Java. Okay, cool.
Even though it's automatic.
Okay, so 3 people Java, whatever. So I'm going to be talking about Java first, and then I'm going to be talking about Python, and then I'll finish it off by talking about how to read this problem using the inputs and how to send out the outputs using C++. So for Java, I actually found a GitHub where someone had the answer. You guys might be familiar with this, but you have to use scanner to scan in your inputs. So let's look at this code right here. Yeah, thanks.
Is it kind of like super slow? That
Well, I don't think they're going to see me, but it's fine.
Wait, see if you can do partially, like switch.
I don't think you can.
No, but for you won't be able to see that.
Oh, no, they could see me. It works out great. Yeah, they can see me perfectly. Yeah, it's fine. Cool. So you asked if isn't scanner super slow?
or it doesn't really matter.
It might be slow.
Because it had like, scanning is like very slow. For reading.
You can use buffer readers.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
oh, buffer readers. I've heard buffer readers are good. I think buffer readers are good for strings. I don't know if they're good for everything.
Scanner parses data, buffer reader reads data.
Huh?
The buffer reader is faster, but scanner has some built-in like parsing sometimes.
Has some built-in parsing. Well, you know that your inputs are going to be valid, so you might be able to use buffer. They're not going to give you, like, as an input, a number that has a character in between, and it's not really a number.
Wait, no, look, it says you can only read strings with buffer reader, though. You can't read the integers.
Okay, that makes sense. You can only read strings for buffer. Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Or you can like convert it or something.
Yeah, you can convert it, I guess.
Okay, so Christian asks, so for those who may want to dabble in C++, what resources would you recommend to learn C++ outside a book? I would honestly recommend just practice. How I did it, I did the very easy leak code problems. Like I sorted it by acceptance. I did the easiest ones, and I just started to do C++. And from there, I started to go down the list until eventually I understood the syntax of C++, and I understood the main data structures I would use, which is hash map, set, how to traverse a tree by giving a class node. I would learn those things and build it up and get better and better. So that's my recommendation.
So you said that buffered reader only works for string?
Yeah,
And then
buffer.
How are they getting the space between the integers? So isn't it a string?
I don't think it gets the. It's like a different value.
No, but as the input.
Yeah, so if there's two integers right next to each other, separated by a space,
Yeah,
It's tokenized.
is
I-
it a string?
I know in C++ you can just like read the input and then read the input again, and it would take those two as integers.
I think the buffer reader is gonna be over time.
But what if you use scanner? Would you just read the first integer?
It depends. Next.
Yeah, if you say
Next.
scan, the next game is gonna be.
Okay, yeah. If you use scanner, then it's just going to read the first integer, and then it's going to skip the space and then read the second integer. So yeah, but this is an example of how to solve this using Python. Sorry, using Java. And yeah, they use scanner because we're reading in an integer. So that's exactly why they did it right there. And apparently you have to do scanner.close, which is pretty unfortunate. It's like one extra line for no reason. But that's Java, right? And then of course, they do that logic that we talked about. Take the modulo of 2. If that's equal to 0 and weight is greater than 2, then output yes. Notice how the output for yes is not return the string yes. Instead, you want to print yes. That's how all outputs for competitions are going to be like. You do not return the answer. Instead, you print it. Now you might be asking, why do they do that? Well, your method might be called something else. And if you send them the file, they don't know what method to call. So instead, they're just going to run your file. If they run the file, you better hope something in there calls that method that you have, that you use to solve the question, and it's going to print out the answer to the system. And it's going to print out the answer to the system, and that's how you know whether you got it right or not. And then if once he prints yes, he just returns because you know he already has the answer. If he doesn't get in that if statement, he's going to return no.
CIN is faster than scanner.
CIN?
Yeah.
Oh, it's C++, yeah, yeah.
See what always breaks. Something's always wrong.
You have to wrap it in public static void main to send it in.
Yeah. Oh, it has to be in a class main.
I don't know.
As-
I do think it has to be in a class main, yeah.
And in the main
But
function.
should the class be static or not?
No. But it has to be public. It has to be public. Oh, okay.
Okay, so in this case, for people on the live stream, David said the class, the method, the main method inside the class has to be public,
And the class itself has to be public.
and the class itself has to be public.
Do you mind doing like a also, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to do Python because it was just me and Hermes maybe.
Oh no, I'll definitely do it for people in the live stream as well.
No, I was going to say for C++. Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna do Python and C++.
Okay then, because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know how to use it, but I am biased.
Yeah.
That I've never used
Yeah, I'll definitely do it. Okay, so any questions on the Java?
Wait, can you submit this code for the problem and receive it?
Okay, but if I get a wrong submission, it's your fault.
No, I'm submitting it right now, so you can see.
Oh yeah, if you're submitting, let us know if it works.
Post and broadcast or just post?
Huh?
Post and broadcast? or
Broadcast will share your answer with other people.
no?
Yeah, sure, click no. Felix the cat, so C++ over Java, I would say yes, but to be honest, just do what you're most comfortable with. the competition is right around the corner. If you're better with Java and you don't really want to stress about learning C++, go with Java. If not, try C++ out and whatever calls your attention more. And yeah, Christian, what you said is totally correct. Most competitive programming competitors do use C++. Like the number one guy, Taurus, uses C++.
The, most of the ones at the top use C++.
Yeah.
Is there a way to find a leaderboard?
A leaderboard? Yeah, you can go to Code Forces and you can see a leaderboard.
So the minimum is 50 lines, so it's not 50 lines. For 50 characters.
So yeah, Taurus number one. Say that again.
Minimum 50 characters, apparently there's not 50 characters.
All right, so let me just copy this. Let's try submitting this before we go on to Python. First, let's choose our language. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of languages here. There's even PHP and Perl. But in the actual ICPC competition, it will be much more restricted. Yeah, Felix, if you're best with Java, go ahead and try Java. There's no shame in that. And you wouldn't be getting any weird issues like you would if you did Python. Oops. Could have sworn I clicked this.
Why do they have a limit of 50 characters?
Yeah, not really sure.
Oh, wait, no. Wait, call the class name before you do it.
How do I call the class main?
Scroll down to public class, watermelon, and rename that to main.
Oh, I need to change this to main?
No, capital I.
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is kind of how C++ you need that function, that method called main. And for Python, you either need to regularly call the method or you use if __ name is equal to __ main.
Yeah.
Which I'll go over that once we do the Python. All right, so let's submit this. It's pending. Let's see if this gets accepted. It does show you the code in a nice, pretty format right there. And it gets accepted. Perfect. So yeah, that code does work. One key thing, thank you, David, for telling us this, is to change it to main. Have your class be called main and your method be called main. You can have multiple methods, but if you have another method inside your main method, make sure you call it that one.
So essentially the only thing that matters is the main, and we have the public class, and then the main with the capital letter.
Yeah, one a public class main capital letter, and also one a public void main method. I don't know if you need static, do you?
No, yeah, you need everything.
Oh, you need everything here? Yeah, so you need public static void main.
Okay. And you also need to add all the imports.
Exactly, yeah. Here you needed scanner, so you had to import it. Felix, you're asked why C++. C++ is just the fastest, faster than Java and Python, so it's something that most people use. Christian asked a great question. He said, would you suggest testing in the language you are most comfortable in at the moment for the sake of team forming and accurate skill determination by Geary, and maybe later switching languages? So I wouldn't recommend that. If you use one current language just to show how good you are, and then Geary forms you in a team, try not to switch. Because if you do switch, you might be spending time learning that language instead of really working with your team and you guys having a good, strong foundation and just currently building off of your current knowledge instead of starting over with a new language. So like I said, since we are pretty close to the actual competition, try to stick with one language that you're most comfortable with. All right, cool. So we did it in Java. Time to switch over to Python, unless you guys have questions. No? Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go over to Python. Yeah, no problem.
I was gonna say, is there a possibility you could post like all the codes to kind of compare,
Oh, the what?
post all the codes later on to compare like all the different languages and
Yeah. Like, oh, for the watermelon problem,
Yeah.
like the Java, C++, and Python.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something
I can
that
share
I'm
that.
gonna do it. It's just too much typing right now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let me change OBS.
C++ has much less typing than Java.
Okay, then that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, actually, you know what I can do?
But then at the same time, I scared me because C, I was even too great with C though. To be fair, it was only one song.
It's not the same,
It's not the same, right?
but it kind of is the same. With pointers and the rest of
Pointers,
it.
right? But I don't.
Alright, cool.
The one from Programmers is really good.
Oh, they have an online IDE? I didn't know. Their docs are great. I love using the
They're
docs.
really good.
All right, so instead of doing it through Vim, I'm usually using IDE, so I don't have to switch anything from OBS. But now we're going to be doing Python. Super easy, of course. As you guys might know, that we need to read the input. But if you just do input, it's going to read it as a string. So we need to typecast it into an integer by putting it inside the int conversion function. Then from there, I almost forgot to write Python.
W mod
Yeah, mod 2 equals 0.
and
Oh no, exposed. And if w is greater than 2, then print yes. I think it's all in all caps.
yeah.
Else print no.
I think it's
So
all
wait, why do you do the weird space?
Oh, wait, what weird space? Oh, in the same line?
It's not even in the same line.
What are you talking about?
You have to wrap it in a function.
I don't have to wrap it in a function, not for Python. What are you talking about?
No, it's you have no indent and else in that. I thought you were doing like a one-liner, but it's not on one-liner.
Oh, yeah, this would work, but if you're talking about
Oh, I see why.
like this, so you mean that, something like that? Because we could have it all in one line. But yeah, I'm just breaking it up.
Yeah, I see.
So let's run this. I have no idea how to put input. I'll put 5.
No, it's command line. Oh, you would type on that thing?
Oh, I didn't know it was actually. Yeah, so 5 is no. If we run this now with 8, which was the example, it outputs yes. So this is how you can do it with Python. You really don't need a method or a function at all. You can just straight up do it like that, because Python does it line by line, and then it actually runs it. Something else you could do, if you guys would like, is put this in a method called main. Sorry, put it in a function, not a method. And then, like I said, you need to do that if statement, where if __ name is equal to __ main. Do you guys know if it's this or the other way around?
No, I'm pretty sure it's that.
Okay, pretty sure it's this.
Yeah.
So now let's call it with 5, and it outputs no. So this is the 2 ways you can do it. With this if statement right here, or you just don't have a function at all and don't have the if statement, let it run by itself. So we're pretty confident this works. So let's go to Codeforce. Sorry, let's go to the competition. Let's submit once again.
Python 3.8.
Yeah, Python 3.8. Let's paste the code. And then let's submit. Sometimes it does take a while to go through. And it gets accepted. Cool. So it gets accepted by using this function and using the if statement I mentioned, but it will also get accepted if you don't have that at all. So if you just have it all in one line, how we had before, like this, for example. We clear and then submit it just using just this, 3 lines, seriously nothing else, and we submit. It should also get accepted just because that's how Python is. You don't need to have a function. And it gets accepted. Great.
It's almost like a scripting language.
It's almost like a scripting language, yeah, right? Cool. So that is Python. Now let's switch over to C++. I will have to change my cool. Okay. Let me open this so OBS actually gets it correct. Cool, there we go. So this is my C++ template. As you can see, absolutely huge. There's seriously 67 lines of code, but my actual solve method is these 3 right here. Yeah.
So why?
Yeah, I was going to explain that. So yeah, you might be asking, why the heck do we have an extra 65? 64 lines. Why does it matter? Why do we do this? Number one, as you can see in the top, I'm importing one thing, which is one file. But that one file includes absolutely everything you need for competitive programming. That file is called bit/stdc++.h. You can find that file. Are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say?
Yeah, share it.
Okay. Share what? The file?
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, I actually already sent the link to set up this template for your sublime text. So why am I saying sublime text? Well, number one, because that's the editor I'm using, but also because if I create a new file and I do Command Y and I type C++ and click Enter, it gets automatically built. Here it's not color coded because I didn't save the file as a C++ file. Right now it's just text. But it's extremely easy for me to have this template, so when I see a problem, I can instantly create this template and debug whatever I need to do without any worries. So I'm only importing one thing, but also I'm defining a whole bunch of long code, like creating a vector of integers, or creating a vector of integers, which is a 2D matrix. Instead of having to write out this one long line right here, all I have to write out is VVI. And I saved myself 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 characters.
Okay, but you can still put in the constructor the size, right? Like you put 5.
Yeah, you can still put the size. It still has all the properties of a regular vector. It's just much shorter now. Huh?
In terms of like typing fast.
But it's compilation.
What are you saying?
Like it compiles faster than Java.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah. It compiles faster.
What are you talking about? Like the speed?
No, I'm just talking about the typing speed.
I was talking
Oh, the
about
type.
Because
Like-
it's low level. Java.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the typing speed is much quicker, mostly because we're using like these macros by using the type def. It really builds up and adds to itself. This is something you can't do in Java, I believe.
No.
Yeah, no, okay, cool. So also, if I'm creating a pair of int, which is a tuple, right? I can just do PII instead of pair angle bracket, int, comma, int, and then angle bracket, yeah.
But wouldn't that, since you would have to run all of those and it gets defined, wouldn't that just be slower because every time you have to?
Doesn't really matter. The overhead on writing all of this, it's extremely small.
Would be pair, LL, PLL.
Pair of long. Because LL, as you can see right here, I have a type def where long, instead of having to write long, I can just write LL. And that's the beauty of this. You can pile on top of each other.
Right.
So, which is why we have pair LL there. And then here, they have another long, which is mod of, I think 10 to the 11th plus 7. This is just a common mod that you might see in some problems. They might tell you that the output is going to be so large, so take the module of it, take the module of that answer, and modulate by 10 to the 7th plus 7, or 10 to the 11th plus 7. Yeah, EPS is also epsilon. That's what EPS stands for. It's a very small number, just in case there's a small difference you need to account for in your algorithm. Everything else, all these defined that you guys see right here, is just methods or functions that I created, not me, but the person who created the script, this template. It's just functions for faster code. For example, print vector, I can pass the vector. Instead of having to create a nested for loop, I can just, not nested, sorry, a regular for loop, I can just call that function and it does it for me. So I'm saving a whole bunch of time just by using this template. You can also do it right here, max element. So take max L and then call it with the beginning of the vector all the way to the end of the vector. So there's a whole bunch of time that I'm saving right here. And then in my main function, it's going to read the input file, because there's an input text file that I'll talk about later. It's going to check how many test cases in this input file I have. And then for all the test cases, call solve, where solve is my main logic. So you might be saying, OK, this is a little bit too much, but give us an example. So let's run through that. Here I have a file called input.txt. I'm going to write 5, 6, 8, 2, 1, 12, 3, 5, and then 99 and 100. Number one, realize how easy it is for me to write inputs. Instead of having to rerun my program multiple times, which could take maybe 1 second or 2 seconds, I can add all my inputs that I want to test in an input file. Then I just have to save it, go back to my template, say that I have however test cases. I think I wrote 10 test cases. So in here, let's change from 1 to 10. Now it's going to run my solve method 10 times. Then once I do that, save, and I build it. So I compile this code. It says finished. And now all I have to look at is my output text file. And if I want my output text file a little bit nicer, wrong code, can get rid of this right here, save it, rebuild it, and now my output text file tells me the answer for all of those inputs. It's extremely fast and extremely easy to debug. So for example, we know that W can be anywhere between the range 1 to 100. If I really didn't know the answer to this, I would go to Python 3. Then I will print list. No, actually, let's not do that. I go for I in range 1 to 101. Print I, of course.
The colon.
Yeah, the colon. Now those are my 1 to 100. I will copy all of this. Copy all of that. Go back to my Sublime. Paste it all here. And then run my code. It says finished.
Wait, don't we have to?
Yeah, I need to change the test cases.
Yeah.
Okay, run it one more time after I change my test cases because I have 100 of them. And it tells me the answer for all of them. So it's extremely fast. Obviously, you don't know if it's right or not. But as you can see, there's a pattern. If you see this pattern, you might say, oh, wait a minute. All of the ones that are evens, they're yes, except numbers 1 to 3. So this way, if you really did not know the answer to this algorithm, you can forcefully try every number from 1 to 100, and maybe you would have been able to pick up a pattern. So that's why this template is so useful. Extremely easy for me to try inputs. Extremely easy for me to see my outputs.
Is it like we go in competitions to kind of have like a template of how to set up?
No, because in competitions, you can bring a book that's of dimensions 12 by 12 of 5.
Yeah, but you can't really like say like copy and paste
Two?
that
Ah,
into
two.
there. is
Oh,
what
yeah,
I'm
right.
saying.
Sorry?
You can't really copy and paste that into there.
Yeah, true. You would. Could you have a template file?
Because then couldn't you have like every single problem solved?
No. I know you can bring a paper
Yeah.
that shows the code for that template. I don't know if you can have like a snippet like I have. I don't know if you can bring like a USB and just create that template.
Yeah, but it would be cool if you could just like click and then just
It'll be
record.
cool if like you can SSH into your server, copy that template file
Yeah.
into the computer you're programming in.
Is the computer gonna be like monitored?
I don't think they see your screen. I know they walk around. Like I've seen videos where they do walk around, you just look. And I also think there's a camera on you. This is actually pretty funny, so I'll show you guys.
We can distract them.
Wait, do you like have access to anything when it comes to
That's a good question. I'm not totally sure. I don't know if you can just search up online syntax of the code. Oh, whoops, definitely not this.
I just sent you an email. Can you help me with this?
So let me make sure everyone on the live stream can see it as well. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna show a pretty funny video of how brutal some of the competitions could be. And by brutal, because keep in mind they record your face, so they might be pretty rough on you. This is I don't know who watches all those videos, but yeah.
What's wrong with Animal Crossing? Like, why are you there?
Wasn't that Pokemon? I was
It-
gonna say who watches.
If there's Pokemon, it's you.
Yeah, but I'm not logged into the account.
Who's that for the job then? Hold on.
Well, it's logged, but it's logged into GDSC, so YouTube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. So look at this. Is it this one?
Who's your vice president? What's that?
No, but I don't think he has the login. And he doesn't watch Pokemon.
All right. So look at this problem Look at this video right here. Just look at the title. Purdue University gets time limit exceeded on problem C 13 times in a single video. This whole video is this university failing a problem, and they actually upload it, so they can be pretty tough. And you can see, the distress in their face as they get time limit exceeded. For the sound. He says nope quite a lot of times in this video. I think he says like 5 times. You see how mad he gets? Like, and they upload this. They have like no shame. This guy is like, that was my problem and I can't solve it. So yeah, it can be pretty difficult. So yeah, that's just like an example of what they can do. They do, you see all these people walking in the back, and they do see your face. And you see they have the problems. It's actually given to them in a sheet. So when you guys get paired up in teams, it's pretty smart to have one person solving a problem that's relatively easy for their skill set or their skill level, and have the other 2 members be reading different problems or on the same problem working on solving it. So that's a good strategy because you really need to take into account how little time you have. I know it's 5 hours, but keep in mind that people finish within the 1 hour. They finish all the problems within the 1 hour. So you need to be smart. You have to try to get as many problems solved as possible. Okay. Now we can go back to the Sublime text. Sure.
Oh, and the notebook constraint, is it only for one person, or is it for the whole team or one person?
It's for that team. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they are pretty smart.
they understand.
Yeah. Okay, so now you guys see just how useful this template file could be. I made it extremely quickly with my inputs. I added extra inputs as well, and I'm able to confirm it with that output text file. So it's super easy, and there is some benefit to using it. So that marks C++. We did Python. We did Java. I did send the link for creating the template for the C++. I can actually show you guys. Let me change this to Discord. Yeah, I should, right? Are they seeing this? I think they are. Okay, cool. So it's currently the thread is expired, but let me unarchive it right now. And then all the way down, this is the link I used. So it's down right there. If you follow it, I think it's a Medium post. It is. If you follow it, you should be able to have the same template I have with the same snippets and things like that. So I'll also post here in Prog Resources in this thread. If you're not a part of it, please join it. But I'll post the files for Java, for Python, the 2 Python ones, and for the C++. So aside from that, do you guys have any questions? No? You guys feel confident? I know we solved one problem with you guys today. I should really just straight up share my screen, right? Or maybe I just have to be quick too. Maybe if I'm quicker. Okay, cool. So I know we solved one problem. We solved watermelon. There are a couple other easier ones just to get you guys, to get your toes wet. C, it's just the median number. It's going to give you 3. Median, the middle. So just choose the middle number. You guys should be able to do that pretty easily. Yeah, here they have the example. Oh, something else I want to point out is you can straight up just copy this content so you can paste it in the exact same format that they gave it to you. So median number is also easy. So B, C are easy. Binary search is exactly what it is, just binary search. So now you have B, C, and D that you guys could do. E, a little bit more difficult, but some of you might be able to do it. Rotate an image. I know this is also a LeetCode problem, but you guys might be able to do this one as well. The 2 hard ones are A, which is fixed upon. This is the problem that Giri went over yesterday. If you watch his video, which is on the YouTube channel, you should be able to understand what algorithm you need to implement. But there's an issue. The issue is, number 1, there's a whole bunch of reading. Number 2 is the input. This input represents a grid. It represents a matrix or a graph, however you want to look at it. There are some graph problems where the input is extremely hard to work with. In this case, it's super annoying to work with this problem. So honestly, it just takes practice. There are 2 ways to take in this grid. But yeah, it's just unfortunate, but sometimes it is just like that.
You can construct the first number. 3 that's the foundation for everything.
What?
Like the number 3 is the foundation for everything. That's 3, and it's like 6 by 7.
Oh yes. Because if you read the number, you just need n. Then if you know n, you know the number of rows and the number of columns. Yeah. But you need to take into account how you want to add the borders to that grid. You can either, let me not talk about it. But yeah, that's one useful thing to construct your grid. Yeah. Something else I do want to talk about is sometimes the first number in your input might represent how many test cases there are. Here, the first number is 3, which tells you that there's 3 test cases for this problem, which is true, because the first one is that whole big chunk right there. Then there's 1. Oh, actually, no, that 3 represents n. Yeah. Never mind. But sometimes the first number does represent how many test cases are in the input. So yeah, this is pretty challenging one. And then F, A Bug's Life, is also pretty difficult. This is graph theory. So this input can also represent a graph. A 3 to 3 can represent an edge from node 3 to node 3. 1 to 2 represents an edge from node 1 to node 2. And you have to be able to handle this by using either an adjacency matrix or adjacency list. So yeah, those are the 2 hard problems. And then everything in between, A and F, relatively easy. You guys should be able to do. If there's no more questions, then I guess we can call it here. Yeah? Okay, thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in on the live stream. Appreciate it.